Welcome to part 6 of our grow, and this is where we will be harvesting our lion's mane. Typically, with cakes of this size, we're looking for a harvest of right around 3.5 to 4.5 ounces dried, or 1.5 to 2 pounds wet. We did not hit that mark in this grow. That was due to two issues, one of which isn't necessarily an issue, but it ended up compounding and actually creating a bigger issue that led to us not having an optimal performance. Before I get into the issues, I will reference back to part 3 of our grow log to something that I said then. With this particular run, I'm doing it in a way that I know that works, but I'm doing it with new materials that I'm not sure how well they're going to perform. So now coming back, the first issue, which isn't really an issue, is the particular type of hardwood pellets that we use to bulk up our substrate. They did not retain as much moisture content as previous versions. Again, that's not necessarily a problem because it can be mitigated by adding some additives or by adding a casing layer. That's something that I discuss in my courses. But that's one kind of issue that ended up rising up and not giving us an optimal performance because we had to kind of supplement or um, make some changes that we normally wouldn't have had to do. And the bigger issue is a fresh air exchange issue that we had during our first week in the fruiting chamber. So right after we birthed these, they were a little bit dehydrated. We put them in the fruiting chamber. We turned up the humidity to kind of compensate for the lack of dehydration or the lack of hydration. And there happened to be a CO2 spike because of that FAE issue. So for the first 7 days, these things actually kept growing as if they were still in the incubation phase. And that led to our ultimate issue, which is called overlay or matting. And that's a dense layer of dead mycelial cells that form over top of the substrate that make it unreceptive to water. So it won't let water in, and it kind of defeats the whole purpose of these cakes because they're not able to breathe the way that they need to produce optimal flushes. So we got very few fruits. The fruits that did form, they were in patches that were still not completely overlaid, or they formed on top or squeezed themselves on top of or in between some of the dead layered cells and were able to go ahead and mature. But in any case, we did manage to get a decent harvest. It's not optimal. Go ahead and check out what we did. I will leave a rather lengthy description, kind of describing what happened, what went on. If you guys want a more detailed explanation, I'm happy to make a video on it. Just make sure you leave a comment or let me know in a message and I can make that happen. So until then, enjoy our footage. It is harvest time for the lion's mane cakes that we did. Let's go ahead and get that taken care of. And these are the ones that we did. So we're gonna harvest all these. Again, they didn't come out ideal. We had some fresh air exchange issues early on, but they still managed to produce pretty decent flushes. This one I already did a little bit of maintenance on, but we'll get started on it first. Really good texture. this guy apart. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Let's go up to this guy. It's a nice one. Ooh, look at the fangs. It's a cool one. Oh. Oh. That's a big one. Let's see if we can get this other guy up too. Look at this guy. So, nice little haul. All right, here's everything we just harvested. I really like this guy. Let's go ahead and get them weighed up. First, let's make some room. some of the big ones. Pretty cool, right? Not bad.